So I used to run half marathons and Ironman 70.3s. That is until having long COVID. It just changed everything. So if you're new to the channel, my name is Ryan and I usually do outdoors related content, but I wanted to share this with you all because I think it's a key thing that needs to be shared out there to the masses. You know, during the pandemic, I made a bunch of changes with my life to where I started working out more. I wanted to lose some weight, feel better about myself, and ultimately be a healthier person overall. And so I did it. And part of that is I'm a big goals person. So I needed something to motivate me to stay on the path, and so I signed up for a half marathon, then an Ironman 70.3 and all that, and it just kind of helped keep me focused whenever it came to my goals. But that was kind of my life up to that point, and so I had signed up for 70.3 that took place in Louisville in 2024. And leading up to that in July, which was about 10 months ago, I got really bad COVID. And I believe that it was my third time I tested positive, might have been my fourth infection overall. But this time it just hit different. And I got extremely sick and was bedridden. And, you know, I had like the sleepiness, fatigue, the headaches, the fever, like I had the whole thing in the acute phase of being sick with COVID. Just to give you kind of like my state of mind at the time, I was really concerned because we were about a little bit over a month out from the Ironman race that I already paid for, signed up for, had been training for, and that was my main thought at the time, was running this race. And so I kind of did some exercise, tried to fill out my body, and I could tell that I didn't recover from COVID like the last times whenever I'd had it before. And I knew something was just different. So I went to the doctor, I got a full checkup, EKG, they did blood work, and everything I was told came back normal. And that I really didn't have anything to worry about. They said that, it can take people time to get over having COVID. So I went home, I kind of was like, I'm going to wait and see how I feel and see if I think I can even run this race. Well, I, took it really easy and I was like, I think I can do this. I'm just going to really have to adjust my goals and my pacing and everything. And so I will share at the end of this video that whole story because I did a video on it. That kind of leads me into where I want to discuss how I knew that I had long COVID. And so after the race, I looked at my stats from the race, and during the swim, my heart rate was absolutely insane. It was higher than I've ever seen it. And if you know anything about like working out, especially endurance sports, is I knew that I shouldn't have deconditioned that much in a month. And I knew that like something was different. So I had a marathon scheduled about a month away from that race, and I didn't end up doing it. I knew I was going to be able to do it, and I decided to rest that whole month. Later in October, I had tried to jog a couple times, to include whenever I was in Hawaii in November. And whenever I would run, I could just tell like there's something wrong with my body. Anytime my heart rate would get up, it would like just skyrocket. I could do the activity in the moment. Like I could go for the run and I definitely not running at what I could before or operate at the level I could before, but I could tell there was something really wrong with my body. Like afterwards it's like somebody just took a syringe and sucked out all of my energy after I did an activity. It's like
I've lost my mojo.
So I made the conscious decision, and I knew I was like, I've got some kind of leftover impact from COVID, and I'm just going to have to take it easy. And so I chose throughout the early winter just to accept it. I was like resting, occasional weight workouts, that kind of stuff. And then, in the new year started, I talked to my wife, got a little crazy over the holidays, started eating a whole bunch. And I'd gained a lot of weight for what I consider for me. And I didn't feel good. And I was like, I want to start eating better and start working out. So I mainly just started lifting weights. I was like, I'm going to start lifting weights and work myself back into this and see how my body feels. I know that I need to ramp up. I know I can't just go straight into this. So I went ahead and started working out a couple days a week. And if I started feeling too tired or sick or something, then I would take some time off. But, I had, eventually got to the point I wanted to develop in a jog or two a week. And, I could just tell whenever I did it that my body was like really struggling with it. And this ultimately led to me jogging and cycling and having this huge crash. And I had a bunch of symptoms like the migraines and, muscle fatigue and heart rate variability, like everything just hit the dumpster again. And at that point it's like I know that the virus has done something to my body, and I'm not who I used to be, even close, because before I felt like if I put my mind to it, like the hardest part of doing something was doing it. And then afterwards, it's like you felt good, you were like happy you did it. You might be a little bit more tired that day, but you did not experience this inability to recover. And that's like what separates long COVID, at least from my symptoms, is I just have no ability to recover. And whenever I do something, it just wipes me out. That's really my experience with like living with long COVID. In the beginning, I will tell you that my struggle in the fall was really just like making it through the day. It went like I would need naps. Like I would struggle to just have enough energy and focus to work during the day. It made it extremely difficult. My struggle in the fall was a struggle. And that's why I really didn't even worry about working out in the fall, because I just didn't have the energy. I was just happy to make it through the day. And it slowly developed to where I've slowly gotten back some of that capacity to make it throughout the day for most days without needing a nap. But I can tell you right now that if I do too much in a span of a couple days, like I need like a rest day. And I never really felt that way before. It's like chronic fatigue is just like, it's like you're constantly taking money out of a bank and you don't know how much you have left in it until it's too far gone and you just default. And that's really like probably the best way that I can put it when it comes to dealing with long COVID. That moves me on to what has helped me. What's helped me really is like being on a better diet, doing intermittent fasting. I feel like has been a big one for me to maintain my energy, and just making sure that I keep my diet in check. I can tell you right now that if my diet gets out of check, then I can tell a huge difference in the amount of energy that I have. It's just like, I feel like my foundation is so wobbly that I gotta have everything else like spot on. Whereas before, I felt like I had a good foundation, so like I could go off my diet and stuff and still exercise, not be at peak performance, but like in order to have base performance, I've got to have everything spot on with where it needs to be. And that's something that's hard to do, because anybody that's on like a diet or anything knows that it's really hard to be 100% all the time. When you research the internet out there, I swear there's a million different things, because the problem is that even, going to doctors. I went to the doctor in February. They did all the long COVID tests that they have right now, and my heart checks out, like everything checks out as normal. And that's what makes this so hard, is it's not like a broken leg where the bone's sticking out and everybody can see that there's something wrong. I appear to be a healthy person, and I'm a veteran, so I do use VA healthcare, and in a lot of places, like I look relatively pretty daggone healthy. And it's also a barrier because, like, even though I look healthy, I know my body isn't operating the same that it was. On one side, you feel like you're kind of imagining it all. Like, am I just like thinking that this is going on? And then, like, when you question it, you go do something and then you crash yourself and you realize, yes, there's something wrong. That's kind of the cycle that you can get in if you're not careful. But, there's no shot, there's, no solution to this problem right now. All that I'm told is it's going to be time and just waiting it out. And there are some people that it seems, based on my research, that never recover. There are some people that, say they've recovered, but recovery can mean something different to different people. Recovery to me might mean that I am operating at or above where I was when I got the virus. For somebody else, recovery might mean that they can go back to work at their job. So when you hear somebody say they've recovered from long COVID, you kind of have to see like what their metrics are. What are they looking for? Because I think to most endurance athletes, like, it's something different. And, I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to do some of my goals. I had a goal of being able to run a full Ironman and a full marathon. And it wasn't anything from trying to qualify for Kona or something. It was just to do it. And I honestly don't know if I'll ever have the chance again, because it depends on what my body wants to do. But right now I'm at about 10 months and I feel like my body can pretty well handle lifting as long as I take rest in between sets. I'm not getting my heart rate super high, lifting heavier, but cardio still, man, it just zaps my system. And this has been an extremely hard struggle for me, because there are times whenever I have to ask myself, do I really want to try to exercise and take the chance of ruining a couple days worth of feeling like crap? And that's kind of what I have to do in my head. So at the current time, my decision is that I'm going to focus on the weightlifting still. And I've got to only stick to cycling on my trainer inside, because running outside, it's just too taxing. Running is too taxing on my system. My heart rate shoots up. I feel like on the bike I can really maintain that appropriate intensity level and really keep my eye on it. And, and just pray that God will get me through this. And, I might try some other things. If I have success with something, I'll share it with you. But right now I'm just praying and just trying to do the best that I can. But if you have an experience with long COVID or want to share anything down in the comments below, share it down in the comments below. And hopefully we'll get through this. But I will see you guys in the next one.